Are you curious if the interest rates are going up? Is the Federal Reserve going to, again, increase interest rates? I'm Garrett Stewart here with Jeremiah Eck, and we're going to take a look at this mid-month mortgage update. Let's take a look. Thank you everyone for tuning in. This is a new segment I'm going to do around midway through every month, and we're calling it the Mid-Month Mortgage Update. And I've got Jeremiah Eck with Guild Mortgage here telling us a little bit of what's going on with mortgage rates. Hot topic.
Hot topic. Well, thank you for having me, Garrett. So a couple things. So the Fed funds rate is going to be increased most likely on May 2nd and May 3rd when the Feds meet again to figure out how they're going to manage inflation with all the reports and all the data that's coming out. So right now there's a 71% chance that they're going to increase that overnight rate by 1/4% or 25 basis points.
So what does that mean for those that are wanting to get a mortgage? Does that mean that next day their interest rates are going to be 1/4 point higher?
Good news. That's not going to happen. Usually what we see on the mortgage side is the Feds increase the overnight rate, which for those of you who don't know, it's just simply an interest rate that banks use to lend money from one institution to another overnight, and it affects all types of lending. And so when mortgages, are impacted by this, usually we see a reduction in mortgage interest rates for the following week or two as the market stabilizes.
Very cool. And so with all these different reports and things that are coming out, like what reports are we looking at that really affect this?
Yeah, good question. So there's a couple different reports, but the two biggest ones that the Fed uses are the CPI, which is the Consumer Price Index report, and then there's the PPE report, which is the Personal Expenditures Report, for lack of a better term. It's a long acronym. Yeah. But basically what we've seen as of last week, the CPI report increased by about 0.1% from February to March, but year over year, it's down about 1.9%.
Okay.
So that's a really good sign, right?
Bad news is good news.
Means inflation's coming down. It was a good CPI report, and core CPI was about 5.5% last month, which is really, really good. And so the Fed's goal is to bring inflation down to 2%. Right now we're sitting at about 6%.
Okay. So with all that information, where are we going with interest rates? I mean, are we expected to see them go up? There's buyers that are like, you talk to some people and they're like, I'm waiting because they're going to, whatever their thoughts are. What's happening with interest rates?
Yeah, so good question. So last year, rates hit, as everyone knows, about 7.5%. They've come down. We're sitting at about 6.5% right now. So good news. And the projection is from all the economists that rates will probably hit about 5.5%, maybe 5.25% by the end of the year, early next year.
That's good news.
Yeah, really good news. So, but if you've been waiting on the sidelines, you might lose out on some negotiating strength if you wait until interest rates are lower, because all these buyers that have been nervous are going to get into the market then.
Yeah, that's a good point, because there's a lot of people that have sat on the sidelines just waiting, and with that buyer demand and pent-up buyer demand, they're going to hit the market hard, and there's not going to be enough homes out there. You can always refinance your home. If you're not happy with your interest rate and next year it's lower. Yeah. They call up Jeremiah and say, hey.
Yeah, and good news too. If you close before the end of July, we'll waive our fees for a refinance.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah. So, I mean,
crazy.
And with those likely going down, I think that's a good opportunity.
Makes sense.
So thank you, Jeremiah, so much for being here. Hit that like button below if you haven't yet. If you like this is our first time trying this new segment out. So if you want to see more of this, more of Jeremiah, then hit that like button, comment what your thoughts are, and we'd love to see you part of there. And Jeremiah, I'm going to put your info in the description box below, but what is your best information to reach you?
Yeah, so you can either call or text 775-771-8907, or you can email me at jeckjack@guildmortgage.net.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being with us, and we will see you next time. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button below.
See you then.